Hey beauties, good afternoon to you. Now this video, well really all my videos are for the thinkers, not for people who don't comprehend well, who the critical thinking skills are not there and they lack understanding, because in all you're getting, you should get understanding. And I say the word should because not everyone will. Now I listen to Vybz Kartel in his different little interviews, one with Isaac Buchanan, his lawyer, and Anthony, what's Anthony's last name? You know who I'm talking, Anthony Miller, yes. As it relates to his situation. This is a very intelligent man, please know. This is a well-read man, highly intelligent. I want people to understand that, and a lot of what he does is to stimulate the media. You have to be very, very wise, and with it, woke. You have to be. Now I realize that he's supposedly going to be having his debut concert in December. Listen to me, if he charges $2 million, I say go ahead, Vybz Kartel. Now, do I want people to suffer financially? No, I don't. I'm not saying that from that perspective. Am I saying that he should go and do songs that are illicit and crude and lewd? No, I'm not. But the reality is we live in a real world. These concerts will happen once, you're a known entertainer, you're alive and you're well and whatnot. When the great Chris Brown came here in Jamaica, the ticket cost for one of the ticket costs was what, $1 million. I think another was 700,000 and going all the way down to maybe 7,000, depending on where you are. It was at National Stadium it was held, I think it was. And that's a foreign entertainer. I'm saying this on the basis that gone are the days where I'm hoping, let me not say gone are the days, I'm hoping gone are the days where we laud the international and we stomp on the local, as though the local is not as significant. He said something in an interview and I thought it was very provoking for the mind. Only one section I'm going to say, Kartel, don't even consider yourself with Jesus. Unless, maybe I'm going to say that you probably don't have an understanding of who Jesus is. Some Rastafari people believe he was just a prophet. He's God. He came in his name. Jesus was the flesh and the Christ is the spirit. They co-joined so that they could set you and I free. But he said something as it relates to Bob Marley. I think Anthony Miller asked him, it's like he would say, dare you compare yourself to the late great, and the very venerable and notably esteemed, talented Bob Marley, who's still leading the charts. He said, listen, no man, no more than no man. And I said to myself, he's absolutely right. No matter how great you are, whatever success you would have garnered, no one is more important than the other. That is why you wonder how God will allow great men to fall. If you look at Psalm 75, verses 67, they're about in the early sections of Psalm 75. It says promotion doesn't come from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. God setteth up one and puts down another. I want you to understand the magnitude of who God is. People who become haughty and proud, for example, I'm not saying that any one of those other people did. I'm saying that you would wonder if those are the same people who had the gifts and the talents that they would have emitted to the world. He's saying that, look here, just as how you consider Bob Marley very significant and important, I too am significant and important. And I said to myself, I like that. That was a very thought-provoking, stimulating, sort of purposeful statement for me that ministered to me. Remember, everything you should learn from and everything you should take as a lesson to make your lives better. And I said to myself, if the fella charged $2 million, go ahead and charge it. Because if Chris Brown is allowed to charge it, Vybz Kartel should. Personally speaking, if I had to choose, let us say somebody said to me, Toni-Ann, which of the two concerts would you go? Chris Brown or Vybz Kartel? Some people may not like my response, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I probably would have a more entertaining time at a Vybz Kartel's concert, because this man is a lyricist. We're not talking about the lewd and the crude and the slack. We're talking about how he coins his alliteration, his simile. For those who did English literature, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It tells you that this is a well-read man. And I like people I like the attribute of a well-read person, whether man or woman. I like the attribute. because people will not understand. You have to be very careful in how you speak, because words can be misconstrued. So let me tell you, if the man charged $2 million, go ahead and go ahead. I wouldn't even vlog on the cost, because if you can actually, take loans, use your monies to go for the international act, support the local act. You know why? I personally believe that maybe he's going to use it as penance in a sense, meaning he's been accused. I don't know if he's guilty or not. Some people they are convinced that he is. Some are convinced that he's not. I don't know. Only God, he and God knows the truth. He and God and whomever else knows the absolute truth. Well, truth is absolute. They know the truth. With that being said, if he's guilty, for example, and God has given him a second chance, he can use some of the money. He has no choice. He would have to give back based on what he would have garnered, has to pay his tax and so on. So it can help give back to the community, to the country, and help with its growth and its development. So we can put him to good use. So I'm looking at it from a holistic perspective and so on. I am looking at it from a holistic perspective. Let me digress now and go on to this. So I noticed that he had said something like his wife, I don't know if she was talking to a man, his girlfriend or fiance was talking to a man in the studio, and he said, don't ever do that again. You don't disrespect me with boxing in your face. All right, people. I know some people will not like this, but you know what? Maybe we can extend a little grace. Remember, the man has been incarcerated for 13 years. He has known difficulty after difficulty after difficulty for the last 13 years. Plus, he had a personality and a character of his own. Maybe a no-nonsense man. He would be considered the alpha male. A man who not take disrespect or not chat from anybody. Remember, he didn't go to a rehabilitation center. He was not being rehabilitated. I would say that his ways more than likely would be germinated. It would have been more stimulated and fueled. If he's not being rehabilitated, then you would be getting worse. It's either the two. If I choose to be a better human being, it's either become better or become worse. So since he didn't go to a rehabilitation center, why would people be surprised by this? He has now come into a woke society. He's now in the land of the living publicly, meaning everybody's seeing what you're doing publicly now, because everything is now being put to the fore. And no longer, and gone are the days, little by little, that women are going to be taking this abuse, because if a man is abusing her, she's now going to come on the different social media platforms and speak on it, and then the man will get a whooping verbally, and then ostracized and rejected and discarded as a piece of trash and a piece of lint or bottle cap. So I'm going to say a little grace in a sense to him. Jesus has shown many of you grace. If we were to think about some of you people in your own homes, what you're doing to your wives, some of you should not even open your mouth and speak. Your teeth should not even be exposed because of the rot, the rotting and the gunk that is going on inside of it. And I'm not talking about literally your teeth. I'm talking about the things that you're doing to your own family. Some of you should not. Many of you should not. When we look at the justice system, a lot of women have not gotten justice. That's why when many of them are raped and molested and harassed sexually and physically, they just keep it because they know they're going back to report it to possible molesters and harassers. Possible, I said. So in this sense, a little grace, because he's now understanding, if I'm this way, I have to find ways of controlling by will or by force. I cannot display this attitude. He will learn. And that was maybe a very strong lesson and learning curve for him. That you don't get up and say, man, me box you down or lick you down or whatever it is. Though in Jamaican language, back in the day when you're younger, parents, when they beat you, they say, man, me kill you, me we kill you. But they don't mean literally to annihilate you. You know what they mean, beat you. So you also have to look at the language. We have the way how we coin many of our jargons, many of our words. We have to understand that people speak a particular way, and if you're used to if your words, I wouldn't say his words are necessarily limited, but what happens is the muscle memory comes in. You see something that you don't like and it relates to this, these sets of words will come in. Am I excusing it? I certainly am not. But I want us to be fair, right, and just.